Hi everyone, it's Tyler. Welcome back to my channel, Tyler Keeps Talking. Today I'm talking about the final episode of the Thai BL series, Step by Step. I'm just gonna say it right now, this episode pissed me the hell off. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the episode starts off 2 years into the future as I predicted from the preview. I said last episode that I thought it was gonna be a fake me out, I thought it was gonna be a bait and switch, but it was not. We really fast forwarded 2 years without any communication, any explanation, nothing. So right off the bat, I'm already annoyed. Maybe not quite pissed, but definitely annoyed. A lot of it didn't really make sense going in. Like, I feel like I really had to use my brain. I didn't really want to use my brain for this, but there was a lot to catch up on in the last 2 years where we know nothing about what was going on. So it seems that Pat, Chot, and A have all left their previous jobs and started a new marketing firm called Broccoli Group, and they're working together. We do find out that Nadia from Forge still remembers Pat and still loves his work and wants to work again. Side note, I always thought that company was called Ford, like F-O-R-D, and I did not find out until this episode that it's Forge, F-O-R-G-E. Anyways, so they're working together again, and Pat and Jang meet in that meeting for the first time in 2 years, and both of them are just like awkward as hell. And so Pat escapes to the bathroom afterwards, where Jang waits for him to try to have a talk. Now this was very weird. So Pat was in the stall and he walks out of the stall, which means that he was taking a shit, and Jang starts talking to him after he just took a shit and did not even wash his hands yet. I'm like, girl, can you give him a minute, please? Like, wait outside of the bathroom, maybe? Or at least let him wash his hands? Please just let him wash his hands. And let him poop in peace, please. But as soon as Jang tries to start talking to Pat, Chot runs in and grabs Pat and they escape. So Pat took a shit and did not wash his hands and just left the bathroom. Nasty. So back at work, we see Chot and Pat having their little gossip session in the kitchen, and A is outside talking to Tae, who is Mr. Jang's friend and also business partner, owner of Pearl and Oliver. And so they're like trying to listen in, and they get caught by A. And we find out that Tae wants Pat specifically to work on the marketing campaign for Pearl and Oliver, which is co-owned by Mr. Jang. So Pat is like not sure about this. A is like, we can do it if you're not comfortable with it. And then we see what has been going on with Mr. Jang. His dad is telling him to get ready to be the vice president of Jin Group. And he says that like while they're playing golf together, and as soon as his dad says that, Jang is like,
I'm actually really busy right now. Oops, gotta go.
And just leaves. So clearly he's not interested in becoming the vice president of Jang Group at all. And then we have some more meetings with Nadia from Forge, where Pat and Jang meet again. Jang tries to talk to Pat again, where Pat just decides to be a complete passive-aggressive bitch to Jang and say, you really haven't changed, you're still trying to control me, you're still trying to do all these things secretly to manipulate me. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. Let's maybe fact check before you come so aggressively. Not even aggressively, to be honest. It's very passive aggressive. And this interaction like really made me not like Pat at all. I know that a lot of people have been saying that they don't like Pat this entire time. I was kind of enjoying him as a flawed character. I like when characters aren't completely good or completely bad. Like, they all have redeeming qualities and also negative qualities. So I knew that Pat was like a crybaby, and Pat was not good at controlling his emotions. He's very dramatic, but those things were all like forgivable to me. I didn't see them as like deal breakers. But for him to be like this snarky on top of all that, I'm like, no. And him being hypocritical, which we'll get to later. This finale is really pissing me off so far. This was like, what, 30 minutes in? No. So then, after getting pretty much scolded by Pat, Jane goes back to Pearl and Oliver to talk to Tae, being like, why the hell did you contact Pat for this marketing scheme? Now he thinks that it's me trying to manipulate him into getting back with me, whatever. And Tae is like, I apologize, but also I don't. Okay, I don't really care, to be honest. Moving on. Pat is at home in the kitchen at night eating ramen and crying again. Anybody want to count how many times we've seen Pat cry in this series? I feel like it's over 10 times at least. but his dad comes in and like I guess kind of tries to comfort him, but also his dad is being like subtly, Pat, you're in the wrong. Like, you know how bad it has to be for your own parent to be like, you should give that person another chance. You are misinterpreting their actions. He seems like a nice person. You are being too much. Your own father. If that doesn't cause you to self-reflect a little bit, I don't know what will. But what I did like in this scene is that Pat admitted that he does not know how to manage his emotions. So he is at least self-aware about it. I don't know if he's really working on it that much. I guess I expected that after 2 years passed that he would have matured, but it seems like he has not changed at all. So for him to tell Jang that he has not changed at all, please look in the mirror because you also have not matured even though you're at an age where you should be maturing very rapidly, right? But then we also find out that Queen Ing has become a successful BL novelist. Good for her, we love to see it. And then we find out that Broccoli House has gotten the case with Forge Group. Congrats to them. And also Pat has decided to accept the job offer from Tae to do the marketing for the karaoke night at Pearl and Oliver. So this is where Jang and Pat finally have a normal conversation and they kind of clear up their misunderstandings. It's not really a rekindling, just kind of like they're clearing up the misconception that Pat thought this whole thing was a ploy to get him to talk to Jang again, which it was not. So then Pat goes home and he unblocks Mr. Jang on all of his social medias, and Mr. Jang notices immediately. They're both like typing out messages to each other and then deleting it and typing it again and deleting it. That was a cute scene actually, to be honest. One of the few scenes I enjoyed in this finale, which was long as hell. The finale was almost 2 hours long. Like, are you kidding me? 2 hours of nothing. But then later at Pearl and Oliver, while they're discussing some things, Pat has a conversation with Put about kind of the situation with Jang, and Put kind of calls him out like, is this not the same as what happened before with you and me? And Pat is like, no, because you left out of nowhere. I at least broke up with him. But I'm like, no, Put really has a point because you just said we're over and blocked him on everything and never saw each other again. That's it. No discussion. You didn't give Mr. Jang a chance to explain himself. You never considered it from his position, why he did what he did. And now you, just like Put, are trying to start things over again. When Put tried to do that, you were pissed at him. So it is actually very hypocritical to me how this whole time, one of the major plot points was about how much it hurt you that Put ghosted you basically, and you did pretty much the same thing to Mr. Jang. And that is one of the main reasons why I hate how this is 2 years later. Because you would think that someone who experienced the pain of just being shut out for a long period of time, you would think that he would know better than to do that to somebody else. Like, at least I wanted some kind of conversation about how they're not good for each other or how they need some more time to grow or figure stuff out. But to just break up in the heat of the moment and when your emotions are high like that and then just no contact? Absolutely not. That's what I hated about this episode the most, to be honest. But at least Pat does kind of listen to what Put says, and he goes back in, starts singing a song. Mr. Jang hears him singing and goes to find him, and Pat sings to Mr. Jang. I hated this. I'm sorry, I hated this. Why did it have to turn into a musical all of a sudden? No, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. I mean, if that's what you wanted, please comment and let us know, but that's not what I wanted. It was very corny, it was very awkward, it was not cute. No, but Mr. Jang is like overcome with emotions and runs off. I feel like this episode is written by someone else than the rest of the series, to be honest. That's what it feels like because it was not giving this corny shit before this episode. Like, this episode is corny. That's why I don't like it. But after Jang runs off, everyone is like, Pat, you have to go after him. You have to go talk to him. So he does. And Jang is like, I'm sorry, I'm just so overcome with emotions. You kept your promise, whatever. They agree to start over. However, Jang is afraid that he's going to hurt Pat again. And Pat is also afraid that he's going to be a dramatic bitch again. Which probably, but you know. Clearly, Jang doesn't mind that much. But because Pat has had a few drinks, why is Pat always drunk or crying? he suggests that they leave the conversation there and talk about it again the next day. So that's what happens. Mr. Jang goes to Pat's house the next morning with some fish porridge and they start again. As expected, Pat remembers nothing of the night before. I think that Pat maybe needs to stop drinking, but they do decide to start over. Pat wants to take it slow, step by step. Clearly, that's what you guys have been doing the whole time, which I don't mind, to be honest. I don't mind the slow burn. I don't mind slow moving relationship series. That's where the name comes from, clearly, because Mr. Jang says in English, step by step. But then Jang resigns from Jin Group and his dad blames it on Pat. Not surprising. We always knew he had a problem with him being gay. And then Mr. Jang surprises Pat for his birthday with a cake, a crispy pork cake, I think. Whatever, it was a cute moment, but this is also where things get really messy for me because the next scene is Pat meeting Mr. Jang's mom, which the timeline is very strange to me because it's like, okay, you guys just got back together and then you're meeting his mom like a week later. You would think that they would wait a couple months, but maybe they think that they've already known each other for that long. Whatever. But the weird thing is that Mr. Jang's mom asks Pat how old he is. And Pat says that he's gonna be 26 in October. If your birthday was just yesterday, wouldn't you say, I just turned X age, I just turned 26? Nobody is gonna answer that I will be 26 in October if right now it's October, right? So this is why it's like messy to me, and that's why I think this episode is written by somebody else, because the whole thing was just a mess. It seems like this scene was supposed to go maybe somewhere else in the series and they just put it here randomly. Weird. But his mom is there for all of like 2 minutes and then just leaves. So that was kind of pointless. It was like not even a more in-depth conversation than the time that Pat slept over at Jang's house in the beginning of the series. But Pat is upset that his mother referred to him as Jang's friend instead of boyfriend. And he thinks that his mom isn't taking them seriously as a couple. Which, yeah, of course, because you guys already broke up randomly before and you've been together for like 2 days. Why would you take you guys seriously? So that was weird. And then Pat surprises Jang with the birthday cake. Why? Like, why do you need 2 birthday surprises in the same episode? Especially when Pat's didn't make any sense given the scene after. Everything after Pat's birthday surprise, everything just makes no sense. Like, it's just nonsense. It seems like all of that, besides meeting Jang's mom, was just a fan service, which is like, okay, cute, but at least make it make sense. But Pat accidentally botches the cake, but Mr. Jang still finds it delicious because it's made by Pat and they kiss each other, they're playing, whatever. This was actually a very cute scene to me. I like this scene. I was able to remove myself from the bitterness of the overall episode because this scene was very, very cute. I loved it. And the rest of it was honestly just fan service to me, like just them being cute with no progression of the plot and really no kind of ending. Like, the ending is just that they're together, but it's like they're together plus a bunch of scenes. It's not even like the ending is them getting together, they kiss, and it pans up into the distance, whatever. It's a very weird ending to me. I really hated this ending, to be honest. I don't know what I expected for the ending to be. I guess maybe I did expect them to kind of have their reconciliation moment where they talk everything out, or they have some backstory about something that happened and now they're together and they live happily ever after, or something more definitive, right? Because I feel like this ending, the way it ended, is not definitive enough, but it also does not leave room for a sequel either. Like the other series that I'm reviewing right now, Minato's Laundromat Season 2, Season 1 had a pretty definitive ending, but it also left room for a sequel, right? Because the ending is them finally getting together. But this episode was just a bunch of nothing to me. I hate to say it, but I can understand the step-by-step haters. Is this what you guys were all seeing the entire time? I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the series a lot. I said that it was probably my favorite series of the year until this episode. Now I don't even know. I feel like I might have to rewatch the whole thing to decide that. But no, I'm just pissed. I did not like this ending. I hated this ending. I feel like it was such a waste. If it had a good ending, a cute ending, a funny ending, even a sad ending, to be honest, where they decide that actually, yes, we were never compatible for each other in the first place. We should have never approached each other as coworkers. I could have even accepted that. I would have even preferred that than whatever this is. Yes, we got the fan service, a bunch of fan service in the end, but I'm really not here for the fan service. I want a good series. But let me know what you thought about it. I know that if I was one of the only step-by-step supporters this entire time, even I did not like this episode. I'm gonna be surprised if a lot of people enjoyed this episode, but maybe I'm just opposite of everybody else and everyone is going to think that this was a great last episode and I'm just gonna be left here like looking like a contrarian or some shit. I don't know. But let me know what you thought about this episode and also the series overall. I actually am very interested in having a conversation about this series and this episode in particular. So leave me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, however you felt. And make sure to remember to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And I'll see you in the next video. And let me know what series I should review next. Bye!